set against Phil Garner's Houston Astros. And good evening, everybody. I'm Drew Goodman. Glad you're along. As always, the Rockies coming off a thrilling come-from-behind 10-9 extra inning win on Sunday. They are now 9-3 over their last 12 ball games, and the victory on Cincinnati allowed them to take the series against the Reds. Just the second time this year they've taken a home series. Now they match up with the Houston Astros, a team struggling, a team actually as bad in the standings as the Cincinnati Reds. Let me bring in my partner, Jeff Houston, tonight. And Jeff, we talk about a roster move. Steve Finley's, who's had a wonderful career, was designated for assignment earlier today, and Sean Barker, when he plays, will be making his major league debut.
Well, unfortunately for the Rockies, the Steve Finley and John Mabry experiment, if you will, did not work out. Both those guys deserve coming out of spring training, but think back to also Ryan Spilborgh's, his emergence somewhat, and now Sean Barker's going to get an opportunity. He's played very, very well in the springs, but he's going to get an opportunity now to kind of fill that role as a pinch hitter, somebody behind Spilborgh's.
And Barker was with the Colorado Springs Sky Sox last year and had a good year with them as well, a former 6th-round pick of the Rockies a few years back. The big story tonight is Jason Hirsch. He's facing the team that he came up with in the Houston Astros, and it's kind of a two-pronged story. One, he's going to have the nerves going because he's taking on Houston. The other thing is he needs a good outing. He's had 4 very poor outings after a very nice start to the season.
Well, it's kind of a Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, early on he pitched very, very well, and you think back to some of the starts he had in April. I mean, tough draws, and Greg Maddux a couple of times, Brad Penny, John Smoltz. You would think that the numbers would be reversed, looking to how he had to, the guys he had to face early on. But his last 4 starts just hasn't been very good. His command has been bad. His location's been bad. Those two things coupled together don't make for very good stats, and it will be interesting to see how he reacts tonight facing the Astros, as you mentioned, for the first time. So I'm sure he's got a little bit of nerves going there too.
Absolutely. Set to go at Coors Field on a pretty Tuesday night. With Jeff Houston, I'm Drew Goodman. Craig Biggio, I think you've heard of him. He'll step in first against Jason Hirsch. And the fastball is down low, and that's such a key pitch for every pitcher, and of late in particular Jason Hirsch, because he has struggled with his fastball command.
And that is where it really comes from for Jason. I mean, to be able to spot your fastball and locate it, and that's one thing Clint talked about in his pregame meeting today with the media.
And he spun off those first 2. You don't have to have a trained eye to see that.
And usually what happens when you're spinning off like that, you're trying to overthrow, create too much.
That was better, and it hit the strike zone. 2-1. We all become amateur pitching coaches.
Well, it's one of those things that's easy to see, though. When a guy falls off hard, especially a right-hander, off to the first base side.
Torrealba sets up on the outside corner, and he offered at it. In fact, a foul tip by Biggio as he tried to bunt his way on. So 2-2 on Craig Biggio. He has worn out the Rockies at Coors Field. Remember, he had a cycle here a few years back. Lifetime .399 hitter with 9 home runs and 34 RBIs. And of course, the big story individually for the Houston Astros and Craig Biggio, closing in on 3,000 hits, sitting at 2,978. So just 22 hits shy. What a glorious career he's had. On the ground, and Tulowitzki. Troy's back out there. And he throws out Biggio, who's still in his 20th season, knows only one way to play, and that's all out as he sprinted down the line. Let's take a look at Phil Garner's lineup this evening after Biggio. In the 2-hole have Hunter Pence, who has been one of the top rookies in the game this year. Lance Berkman struggling. We talked about it during the pregame show. Carlos Lee having a very good year in his first season in Houston. Mark Loretta, the veteran second baseman, at third tonight. Luke Scott, a left-handed bat in right field, and Adam Everett, Brad Ausmus, and the starting pitcher Wandy Rodriguez. Here's the gangly one, Hunter Pence, who's taken Texas by storm.
Well, and don't be surprised, this guy is 6'4", almost 210 pounds, but he can run a little bit too. I mean, as an infielder, you got to make sure you're on your toes, come get the baseball, because he will run hard the whole way.
And a breaking pitch, quickly 0-2. Pence was called up April 28th. Since his arrival in the big leagues, he's hitting .375. That's the highest average in the National League. And he was 4 for 5 on Sunday. An extra inning. Ball's popped up right side. Matsui. 2 outs. And let's take a closer glance at the Rockies starter, Jason Hirsch, the former second-round pick of the Astros in 2003.
Well, we talked about it in the open, and it's really been a Jekyll and Hyde for Hirsch. His last 4 starts haven't been good. That's part of the reason why his ERA is over 5 now. Before those starts, it was just above 3. Still has a pretty good strikeout to walk ratio, but he needs to put the hitters away, and that was part of his problem in his last outing against St. Louis. And stay focused against your old team each pitch, and you really have to put that out of your mind, that that's who you're facing, and go out there and think of it as another major league ball club you're facing.
I think to get through this first inning so important, because he struggled last couple outings in the first. There's a quick strike on Lance Berkman. We were looking at some of these numbers, and there's one that just blows me away. Lance Berkman. I mean, this guy is one of the top hitters year after year in baseball. It is June 5th. Berkman has not missed any time. He has 1 double.
Well,
1.
You think that there should be another 1 in front of that, or maybe a 2. I mean, this guy drives the ball alley to alley as good as anybody. He just hasn't gone on track this year.
A lifetime .301 hitter with 231 home runs, closing in on 800 RBIs. And he's got 1 double on June 5th.
Yeah.
You said it in the pregame show. It just gives you an idea of how tough this game is. And he's admitted readily that he just has not felt comfortable at all at the plate this year.
And it started in spring training. He said from day 1 in spring training that, hey, I haven't found my stroke. I'm not comfortable. So consequently, what you're seeing from Lance is a guy that's out in front of breaking pitches, behind the fastballs, just hasn't gotten in sync with his swing, either from the right side or the left side.
2-2, strike 3 on the corner, and a good start for Jason Hirsch against his former team. 1-2-3 in the. We'll see the Rockies offensively. Fares farther, visit SouthwestAirlines.com. And by Affleck, ask about it at work. Tonight's game is presented in FSN high definition and is available in HD on Comcast channel 664. Rain came through some neighborhoods earlier in the afternoon, but both teams got batting practice in. It's a very pleasant Tuesday night at the ballpark. Mr. Excitement, Willie Taveras to lead it off. He too playing for the first time against his former employers. Wandy Rodriguez, and his first pitch is inside, ball 1 on Taveras. Kind of a love fest before the ball game for Willie. I mean, everybody coming up and hugging him, from Phil Garner to Craig Biggio to Orlando Palmeiro. So much so I finally said, you know, Willie, behind your back, they can't stand you.
Well, I don't think there was a single guy, I mean, including the equipment managers, everybody that didn't go up and give Willie a hug and say, hey, how you doing? You look good.
And you're playing good, because we've looked at the numbers.
but that just goes to show you what kind of person he is. Not so much a ball player, but a person.
And a line drive left center field. This will touchdown run. Willie a chance to stretch it to 2, and he's got himself a double. How good that must feel for Willie Taveras.
Well, no matter how things were and people liking you, you still want to come back and beat your old team. Wandy Rodriguez tried to run the fastball inside, and Willie just pulls his hands inside. Nice short compact swings, gets the hips through, and then you know once it's in the gap, Carlos Lee having to move to his left. It's not going to get Willie as well as he can run the bases. He easily gets in there for a double.
Well, a great start for the Rockies. See if they can capitalize for Willie. It's his 6th double of the year. And here's Kaz Matsui, one of the stars of the ball game on Sunday. The Rockies down 8-2. He came to bat down 8-5 with the bases loaded, and he ripped a bases clearing triple to the right field corner. Rockies won in 10 innings, 10-9. Willie with that double now has a 10-game hitting streak. And Matsui pulled the bat back.
I like that. Try to get the early lead. Try to get Willie over to third base. One way to do that is to bunt. Berkman's playing in close at first base. And it's really tough for Mark Loretta because he has to kind of turn sideways and read what's going to happen, because you never know. Willie might take off on the fake bunt too.
That's in there for a strike, 1-1. Kaz does not have many at bats from the right side. In fact, a couple of days ago he got his first hit from the right side. He was 0 for 6 prior to that, so he's 1 for 7 this year batting from the right side. Overall hitting .325. 5 of the first 6 hitters in the lineup for the Rockies over 300 now. 1-1, and it's bunted foul. Ausmus, as he always does, gave it great effort. Boy, he's been wearing that outfit for a long time now, hasn't he?
Well, and they keep trying to bring guys in to replace him, but he's a veteran guy behind the plate that handles pitchers extremely well, and that's why the Houston Astros pitchers love throwing to this guy. Calls a good game back there, and he throws out about 35% of the runners as well.
And Matsui, you could see him just waiting, trying to punch it to the right side.
That was just a good swing, even on the curveball, 73 miles an hour to stay back. Still look to hit the ball to the right side.
And Huey, I imagine some hitters, when they get to 2 strikes, that's not comfortable for them anymore.
They just say, forget it. I got to go ahead and swing, and however it works out, it does. See, Kaz's approach is still the same.
Downstairs, Rodriguez very much aware of Taveras. Not only does he know of his great speed, having played with him for a couple of years, but a left-handed pitcher, it's hard to keep track of that runner leading off second base. You're in a blind spot.
Well, and that's where the shortstop also helps out, though, too, and that's why Adam Everett is right behind Willie, not giving him any opportunity to get any further off the bag.
And again, line foul down the right field line. Good job by Matsui.
That was a different one. That was a 91-mile-an-hour fastball. Did the same exact thing. That just shows you the mindset right now of Matsui. Everything in this at bat, he's looking to right field. Even Luke Scott, the right fielder, has moved over a little bit closer towards the line.
Nobody out. Willie Taveras a double, leading off the bottom half of inning number 1. Inside, 3-2. Rodriguez in his last 2 outings has given up a combined 7 runs in the opening inning. He's kind of had an up and down season this year with Houston.
Early on it wasn't good, then he had 2 or 3 good outings, and now back to not pitching very well the last few.
And overall, the Astros are in the midst of a miserable stretch. They've lost 14 of 17 ball games, including at one point 10 in a row. And here's some more unbelievable numbers concerning that losing streak for Phil Garner's club. They saw the opposition score more runs than they produced hits during the 10-game losing stretch.
When I heard that today, I was astonished. I've never heard anybody or a team go through that kind of stretch before.
And this is a smash, and now Taveras is hung up. Willie trying to stay in it long enough to get Matsui to second, and he will. Willie committed a cardinal base running sin there. Ball right in front of him, and he tried to cross over. Let's take a look at the Rockies lineup this evening. After Matsui, Matt Holliday, and then Todd Helton in the 4-hole. Garrett Atkins, last 3 ball games, 4 for 9 with a home run. Brad Hopp, the reigning National League Player of the Week, just announced yesterday. Troy Tulowitzki, the shortstop, in the 7-hole. Yorvi Torrealba batting 8th, and then Jason Hirsch.
We mentioned the cardinal rule. When that ball is hit in front of you, you have to freeze, especially as hard as it was hit to Adam Everett. An easy rundown, but Willie did the right thing, staying in it long enough so Kaz could replace him at second base. Anytime that ball's hit to your right side, he cannot go.
You know, when you're blessed with that great speed, sometimes you utilize it to gamble, and Taveras took the gamble there, and it didn't work out. Biggio going to second base, so Rodriguez, if he's not going to pick, has to at least step off and allow Biggio to get back.
Yeah, you have the second baseman holding on, Kaz, with Matt Holliday, the hitter, up, different type of hitter. Everett's over in the hole a little bit more now. But you're right, partner. As soon as that second baseman bluffs like it's going to be a pickoff, then Rodriguez, as a pitcher, cannot deliver the baseball home. He just has to step off, regroup, start all over.
Well, he can, but he's going to hear about it.
Right after the pitch, the second baseman is going to come in and say, "Don't do that again."
Here's the 1-0 to Matt. He stays off that. It's 2-0. The key pitch for Wandy Rodriguez is the curveball, but you got to get to strike one to start utilizing the breaking pitch.
We talk about it so much that the number one pitch in baseball is commanding the fastball, and everything else works off that. And if you can't command that, even if you have the best breaking pitch, the guys are still able to sit on it.
3-0 on Holliday with Helton on deck. Matt riding a 12-game hitting streak. You know he has the green light here. Rodriguez knows it. Didn't offer at it. It's 3-1.
Well, some guys, you know, whatever reason, they just don't feel comfortable hitting 3-0, and that one Matt was watching the whole way. Sometimes you'll do that just to gauge the pitcher as well. Just to take a look at Wandy Rodriguez's numbers. Is the 11th start on the season. Pretty good strikeout to walk ratio, 54-16. He will give you a pitch to hit. He's allowed more hits than innings pitched, and obviously doesn't like pitching on the road. Road ERA of 7.23.
And this is a flare to shallow right center. Biggio will get back and make the play. 2 outs. That'll bring up Helton. And let's take a look at the Astros defensively. In the outfield, Carlos Lee, Hunter Pence in center field, a high energy guy. Luke Scott is in right field. Loretta and Everett left side. Everett can really pick it. One of the best shortstops defensively in the game. Biggio and Berkman on the right side. Brad Ausmus won another Gold Glove last year. Third time he has won a Gold Glove for his expertise in catching. Caught more games than any Houston catcher before him. Helton trying to pick up a 2-out RBI. Todd has swung the bat well against Rodriguez, 5 for 8 in his career.
Lefties on the year, also hitting 341 off Wandy compared to 246 for right-handed hitters.
1-1. A little bit more on Brad Ausmus. Tonight he's catching his 1,744th game, which is second among active catchers. Only Pudge, Ivan Rodriguez, has caught more. He's at 1981.
Posada's got to be on that list.
He is. He's number 5. You want to try to figure out the other 2?
Give me 1 second. Pudge, Ausmus.
Yeah. One's a little tougher, but you'll see why in a moment. Go ahead.
Jason Kendall.
Jason Kendall's 4th. Who's 3rd? This is the tough one, because you wouldn't think of him right now. This ball's fouled off. 2-2.
Too much of a hint. Piazza.
Yeah, Piazza.
Yep.
He's a DH now. He's hurt.
He's hurt, right.
But Mike has caught 1,634 games, 3rd active. And then Jason Kendall, who catches every day for Oakland. And then Jorge Posada, who's having just a great year for the Yankees. The Yankees not having such a great year. They're losing right now 1-0 in the 5th to the White Sox. Strike 3 on Helton. Well, the Rockies waste a great opportunity. A leadoff double by Taveras. And they do not score. We go to the 2nd. For the second inning, fresh popcorn on the menu tonight. Jeff Houston has the keys to victory. Jeff?
Well, let's take a look at it. Number one, find some early offense, take the pressure off Jason Hirsch. Keep Carlos Lee at bay, leads all of baseball in RBIs, and a little bit of attitude from Atkins, much like he was on Sunday. Our keys to the game are brought to you by Burt Toyota. Sound the alert. Nobody but Burt.
May I tell you what the key to the game is, please? Yeah, I mean, those things you put together were very nice.
Thank you. Worked hard for those.
Well, I'm sure you're right on the money with those. The bottom line, the Rockies have to score more runs than the Astros tonight. Carlos Lee with a weak ground ball to the right side. Get his big bat out of there quickly. One out. That'll bring up Mark Loretta. And tonight is Tuesday night. And every Tuesday night, OfficeLiquidators.com sponsors our email the booth. Go to foxsports.com to log on and then search Rockies Booth. Foxsports.com, search Rockies Booth to submit your questions. And it is brought to you again by Office Liquidators. And OfficeLiquidators.com, you click, we ship free. Here's Loretta. I've always liked him. He is a very professional hitter. He's kind of in the same mold of Craig Biggio.
Well, he's really just flown under the radar. Think about this. This guy's close to 1,500 hits for his career.
And he pops this up to right field. Brad Hopp makes the catch. Two are gone. 1,500 hits for Loretti's. There's only 48 guys active right now in baseball with 1,500 hits. I mean, it's not Biggio going for 3,000.
No.
But 1,500 is quite a major league career.
Well, but think about a couple of the places he played. Not real media savvy places in Milwaukee and San Diego. Yeah, he had the stint in Boston, which I think elevated his notoriety, if you will. But he's a solid major league guy that can play a lot of different positions. Came up as a shortstop, second base, now third base for the Astros.
And Loretta's played everywhere for Phil Garner. He has 6 starts at shortstop this year, 2 at first. His natural position second. Luke Scott steps up. .232 average for Scott. Off the outside corner, it's 2-0. Luke, a product of Oklahoma State University. Willie Taveras territory. And Jason Hirsch has retired the first 6 Astros he has faced. Garrett Atkins will lead off for the Rockies when we come back to Coors Field. No score. Yeah, it's a beautiful sight. Still plenty of snow up in the high country. No scores. We go to the bottom of the second inning. And Garrett Atkins will step in first to face Wandy Rodriguez. Rockies had a great chance to score in the first. Leadoff double by Willie Taveras, but then he got caught in a rundown trying to cross in front of a ground ball by Kaz Matsui. 10th inning Sunday, tie ball game, not any longer. Garrett Atkins rips it to left field, and Matsui would score the game-winning run. 10-9 Colorado. Rockies now 5-3 in extra innings this year.
It was nice to see those two guys in the middle of everything. Garrett with a 3-for-5 afternoon on Sunday, and then of course you mentioned it earlier, Kaz's triple in the 8th inning, tied the ball game up.
Stayed off the curveball. 2 balls and a strike. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday against the Astros, and then it's off to Baltimore and Boston. That's pulled foul. Jeff Houston gets to go back to his old stomping grounds, Camden Yards.
That's going to be fun. What a great place.
We're going to ask you. We're going to ask you a few times about that ball game you started next to Cal Ripken. This ball to the gap in left center field. See if Garrett can get 2 bags out of it. He will. Pence drops it, and then Carlos Lee drops it. It would have been a double anyhow. So Garrett Atkins continues his hot hitting over the last few days.
Well, we just saw a shot on Sunday, what he did with the pitch that was up. Once again, they tried to elevate the fastball, and Garrett's able to get his hands on top of it. And now what you're starting to see from Garrett is the separation between his hands and his feet. As his foot is going forward, his hands going back. That's allowing him to drive the ball, wait a little bit longer, see the baseball. Consequently, a double.
And another guy who's been swinging the bat exceptionally well. Brad Hopp swung on a miss. Brad with his first National League Player of the Week award. Hit .455 last week with 3 home runs. That's exciting.
Oh my. I mean, not very often that you receive that honor to be recognized as the best in the National League for the week.
That'd be a big deal if you were the SEC West Player of the Week. He played at
LSU.
Yeah, great baseball school in LSU. See if Brad can move Garrett. And this ball to center field won't get it done. Pence with the catch, 1 out. Back-to-back innings, the Rockies have had a leadoff double.
We talk about situational hitting, being able to get guys over to third base with no outs, and so far in the first 2 innings, the Rockies have failed to do that.
Cost him in the first inning. Let's see what happens here. Troy Tulowitzki up. Chulo left Saturday night's ball game with a groin strain. Did not play on Sunday. And then, of course, had the day off yesterday. And here he is on Tuesday night.
Watching him take ground balls, moving around during batting practice. Everything looked fine. Obviously, the trainers and Clint wouldn't put him back in the lineup if that wasn't the case. But he was out there jumping around, moving just like he always does. And he's fielding his ground balls.
Tulo had made 34 straight starts till Sunday. Maybe the hardest ball Wandy Rodriguez has thrown, right at 90.
And that's where he'll top out. He works around the 88, 89 mile-an-hour range. 90's about where he will get with his fastball. Curveball 73, 77 miles an hour, and his changeup's anywhere from 82 to 85.
3-0 with Torey Alba on deck. We showed you the numbers earlier. Wandy Rodriguez has a great strikeout to walk ratio. Those numbers belie his record of 2-5 and a 4.5 ERA. Better than 3-1, or right in that 3-1 neighborhood. There's a strike. 3-1 now on Tulowitzki.
What's interesting also about Rodriguez, his last road win was back in July of '06. He's gone 0-6 with an 8 ERA in 11 starts since.
Wandy out of Santiago in the Dominican Republic. And a good curveball. So he comes all the way back and strikes out Tulowitzki for the second out in the second inning.
Let's take a look at the arms for the Houston Astros. In left field, Carlos Lee is below average, with his strength, and you can really run on him because his range is limited. In center field, Hunter Prince is average across the board. And in right field, Luke Luke Scott can also throw a little bit, but much like Carlos Lee, his range is limited. The strong arms have been brought to you by Franklin D'Azar and Associates. Injured in an accident? Call Franklin D'Azar and Associates. One call. That's all.
Let's see if Torrealba, who I know will be pitched to very carefully here by Wandy Rodriguez. See if he gets a pitch to hit first and see if he can come through if he does.
Well, this is the instance as a number 8 hole hitter in the National League that you have to expand just a little bit with the runner in scoring position. What I mean by expand the strike zone. A ball that might be a foot or excuse me, a ball off the plate, you might have to go ahead and swing at it.
Atkins at second, first base open. Jason Hirsch with one big league hit on deck.
And that's why I mentioned that as an 8th place hitter with a guy that is not known for his bat behind you with one big league hit, you have to expand just a little bit. Try to drive in that run yourself. You can see what Rodriguez is doing though now. I mean, he's not even giving him a baseball that is just a little bit off the plate.
See if Ausmus looks in the dugout, stands up now. Not crouching, or still he's gone to the crouch. I thought he may just stand up and put him on.
He'll probably throw him another breaking pitch. Just down in the dirt, nothing close, maybe a changeup. See if he'll fish for it.
He got a fastball, and that was a pretty good pitch.
I'm really surprised at 3-1 that they would even give him something that close to the plate.
Strike 3 on the corner. So Rodriguez pitches to Torrealba, and he strikes him out. Rockies again do not cash in on a leadoff double. Atkins left straight. No scores. We go to the 3rd inning. Chevy offers more choices of flex fuel vehicles than anyone. When you drive any of these Chevy flex fuel vehicles, you can help reduce greenhouse emissions and reduce our dependency on foreign oil. Good for the environment, good for the economy, good for Colorado. Chevy, made for Colorado. Drew Goodman, Jeff Houston from the ballpark, and we welcome in a special guest tonight, Greg Creed, who is the CEO of the Taco Bell company, joins us. So you're the big burrito, aren't you?
I am the big burrito, yeah. I'm the Australian selling Mexican-inspired food to Americans. That's what I am.
Something tells me you've run that line once or twice.
I've run that one a couple of times, exactly.
How'd you do? You threw out the first pitch tonight.
I was a bit nervous, but there was a lot of money riding on it. Actually raised $25,000 for the Boys and Girls Club.
With that one pitch?
Yeah, I got there's 8 franchisees out here, and they put up $24,000 if I threw a strike, and it got called a strike, and I put $1,000 in, so $25,000.
Who was umpiring? The thing hit the screen.
No. It was definitely a strike from where I was standing.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well done. I know you're doing great work with the Boys and Girls Clubs, especially here in Denver. Why don't you tell us about what you're doing?
Yeah, we just donated $125,000 to the Boys and Girls Clubs in Denver. Bought a new van, so we can transport the kids around, and also really spent the rest of the money on other initiatives that we've got in the Denver area. And it's really important for us because I think, as you know, there's like 30% of high schoolers aren't graduating high school. They're not even graduating high school, and so we wanted to really get focused on teens, and we want these kids to get a great education, graduate high school, and go on to live a great productive life. So.
And it's startling in Denver, in the city of Denver, in the Denver public school system, it is more than 50%, which is just tragic.
It is tragic. I mean, I think you think about the things you can give. What can you give a kid? The greatest thing you can give a kid is an education.
Sure.
And that's what we're up about.
Well, congratulations, Greg, on that endeavor, and I know that you're involved throughout the country. From Taco Bell standpoint, are you worldwide now, or?
We're not worldwide, though we are opening in Mexico, would you believe, which I think is pretty impressive.
Yeah. And
there's
some competition down there now.
And then we're actually opening in Dubai in the Middle East before the end of the year, so starting to move outside the US, so it's very exciting.
So what do you think about baseball? I know you grew up a cricket fan from Australia.
I did. I grew up playing cricket, and the good thing about cricket is you're allowed to bounce the ball. In fact, you're meant to bounce the ball before the batter gets to hit it. But my son plays. He was at Tennessee, University of Tennessee, and he's a big baseball fan, and we really love the game.
He's a pretty good player from
Nice
the University
program.
of Tennessee at first base. Todd Help.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, go Vols.
Yeah.
So, no, it's really good.
On the ground, the second, Kaz Matsui. Of course, this is an international game, and as I'm sure you're aware, there are several Aussies who are now playing in the big leagues and have played in the big leagues.
Yeah, it's very exciting to see Australians. You know, they've always been good at golf, but now they're playing baseball, they're playing NFL. It's really exciting to see Australians sort of get outside the country and not just play rugby and cricket.
Now, I lived in London for a short time.
Right.
When you have a test match in cricket, the thing I like about baseball, people here in Colorado, we've complained from time to time at the length of the games because the altitude, and there's been a lot of runs historically here, so we've played 3.5 hours, sometimes 4 hours.
Right.
That's nothing compared
That is
to
absolutely nothing.
Test match, right?
A cricket test match lasts 5 days, and most times it's a draw. There isn't a winner. So, and it starts at 10 in the morning till 6 at night for 5 days, and 50% of the time there's no result. It's just a draw.
You want to know what? That's a lot of time invested for an attaboy.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of things that occur before the game as well. I don't want to say.
You can't say it on air.
Can't say it on air.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the 1-1 on Wandy Rodriguez. Now 1-2. Greg, what are you off to next in terms of endeavors from a philanthropic standpoint?
Well, I think we've donated about 18 million over 12 years to the Boys and Girls Club.
That's awesome.
And we're really into focusing, as I said earlier, on getting teens to graduate high school, to get an education, because we think that's the most powerful thing that we can do. And we're really being very single-minded about it.
Greg Creed is our guest, the COO. I want to make sure I get
CEO, president.
You were CEO. I said CEO.
Yeah, you were right. Yeah,
but,
that's
okay, CEO, and I'm looking here at COO. You have every title. Does anybody else do anything at Taco Bell?
Exactly.
President.
Exactly. The big burrito. I like that.
You like that?
I might use it.
Can you steal that?
I can.
Hold on, we've got to do a little business here on the side. Hey, Greg, we'll come back in a couple of moments. No score. The Rockies and Astros, middle of 3. Hirsch looks terrific. Of the third inning, Jason Herschel leading off 9-1-2 for the Rockies. Tonight on the Best Damn Sports Show period, Red Sox manager Terry Francona drops by to tell us if Boston can keep up their incredible pace. Plus, Celtics star Paul Pierce helps us get ready for the NBA Finals. That's the Best Damn Sports Show period tonight at 11 p.m. only on FSN Rocky Mountain. Hirsch was 0 for 31 and then picked off his first big league hit. He's 1 for 35 in his career, facing his former teammate Wandy Rodriguez. And a quick 1-strike count. And 0-2. Greg Creed has joined us, the CEO of Taco Bell, and they've given a $75,000 grant and new bus to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Metro Denver, which will help out, I'm sure, immensely in all of their programs.
Absolutely. Yeah, it helps get the kids around and gets them to different facilities, and so they can take advantage of different opportunities, which is really important.
We were involved with a baseball clinic, FSN, and the Rockies a couple of weeks ago. This is on the ground at Berkman. And look at Hirsch busting it up the line. He made Berkman go. That's the hardest I've seen a pitcher run on a ball to the first baseman maybe ever.
And that's what Lance Berkman was thinking as well. Hirsch started out trotting just a little bit and then realized that he had a chance to beat Berkman to the bag. Berkman had to hustle at the last second. It was bang bang. Beat him by a half step. Nice effort from Jason. Wow. Now get back to cricket for a second. What position did you play?
I played what was called the wicket keeper, which is essentially the catcher. So similar role, catch the ball if the batsman misses it. It's called wicket keeper, but it's really the catcher position, which I played in high school and college.
Did you play any other positions, or were you?
No, that was it. I pretty well. Everyone bats, same as baseball, so everyone gets to bat. So I batted and kept wickets. Yeah.
Now, what's the deal? Help me out. When you hit the ball in the stands, in cricket, Is that a good thing?
Yeah, if you hit it like a home run, if you hit it over the fence on the full, 6 runs.
6 runs.
If you hit it into the fence, whether it bounces or on the full, 4 runs. The big difference between cricket and baseball is, in cricket, if you hit it, you don't have to run if you don't like it. So let's assume the batsman hits it to shortstop and knows he's going to get run out at first. You don't run. You just stand there and have another go.
So he just stops.
He just stops. He doesn't even run.
Does he get a hit again?
Yeah, he gets a hit again.
See, I like that. You know what? You just stay up.
Yeah, you stay up.
If you're successful, you stay up.
Exactly.
And that's
you pick the ball you want to run on.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why it lasts 5 days.
That's why it lasts 5 days, because you can just stand there all day if you feel like it.
That's a pretty good deal.
That's a great.
Ted Williams, I mean, he'd be up there for a month.
Yeah.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Willie Taveras. Greg, you got to see this guy run. He's one of the fastest guys in baseball. He's not going to get to run here, though.
Right.
Strike 3. Next time, watch when he runs. Hey, before the ball game, you were tossing the ball around with some children from the boys and girls clubs. What a thrill for a young kid to come out and look around. Even as an adult, I try to pinch myself. I feel so blessed to work in Major League Baseball. Here you are.
Yeah.
Say, oh, you know what? That's good form.
Yeah.
But to see the 50,000 plus seats and to stand on a Major League diamond, that's got to be just a thrill for these young guys.
You know what's amazing? You saw the 800 kids walk around earlier.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
You look at the parents that were with them.
Yeah.
They were as starstruck as the kids.
They were always.
It wasn't just the kids that were starstruck. It was the parents.
Here's the 1-0 to Kaz Matsui.
I also saw you down there squatting like you were a catcher for the kids to throw to you.
Yeah, because wicketkeepers squat. It's exactly the same. It really is.
Well, baseball has its origins in cricket, does it not?
It does, actually.
Yeah.
I do believe so.
Did you play rugby?
I definitely played rugby. Big rugby fan.
Well, it's going to be a quick inning. Hey, Greg, we really appreciate it. Continued success with Taco Bell, and thanks for all of the good work.
It was a pleasure to meet you, and I really enjoyed it, and thanks for giving us a chance to talk about the Boys and Girls Club.
You betcha. Greg Creed is the CEO of Taco Bell, and they've made a huge donation to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Metro Denver. Fittingly, the Taco Bell game reset. Jason Hirsch has been magnificent through the first 3 innings. He's faced 9 and he's set all 9 down, including a couple of strikeouts. Nobody has hit the ball hard so far against Jason Hirsch, but Wandy Rodriguez, other than giving up a couple of doubles, has been able to match Jason Hirsch.
Think about it, though. I mean, both guys coming in 2 and 5. You think that the hitters would have the advantage. So far it's the pitchers. Rodriguez with 4 strikeouts, Hirsch with 2.
Top of the 4th, and Craig Biggio, who grounded to Tulowitzki his first time up, and he's way out in front on the breaking pitch, 0-1.
First time through the lineup, Hirsch primarily used the fastball to set up the hitters. This time he starts off with the curveball to Biggio.
On the ground, foul to third. Well, Biggio is traveling this particular road trip with his 2 boys, 14 and 12. Craig also has a daughter at home who's 7. And they're pretty good baseball players. See, they're getting loose.
Well, you never know. Bill might need to use them, come in, pinch hit.
That's right.
Now, what a thrill for the kids, though.
Biggio's from Long Island originally, but he's now the favorite son down in Houston. 20 years in an Astro uniform, and one day, barring the bizarre, he will go to Cooperstown. Swung on and missed. Another good breaking pitch from Jason Hirsch. That's his 3rd strikeout. And let's check an email. This from Stan in Denver. Do you know how fast the shortstop, third baseman, and the second baseman throw to first? Well, you know, sometimes they put a radar gun. I've heard of 95, 96 from a shortstop, you know, with great arms. Sean Dunston had a huge arm.
And this young man in Troy Tulowitzki might have one of those type of arms too. Typically what happens though is you really don't get a radar gun on you from those positions unless you're at a tryout camp. And scouts sometimes will stand behind first base, and there's a radar gun that I'm talking about. And that's how they'll get the speed. Typically your shortstop's going to have the strongest arm, followed by your third baseman, and then last but not least would be the second baseman.
I'll tell you, if you have a second baseman like Jose Castillo with the Pittsburgh Pirates that has a real strong arm. Matsui has a pretty strong arm. He's former shortstop. Line, that's the hardest hit ball, but right at Atkins. And Hunter Pence is retired. But if you have a second baseman that can turn the double play with a plus arm, that's a big bonus.
Well, it actually helps you out by about a step or so, and that means the difference between safe and out a lot of times. The guy that has a strong arm can make the strong turn. It just helps everybody else out with their fielding percentage, helps the pitchers out with their double plays.
Lance Berkman caught looking at a fastball in the outside corner his first time up. Too quickly out in the fourth inning. And on the ground to second base. Hirsch continues to roll along. He has set down the first 12 of the ball game. 6 pitches in the fourth for Hirsch. No score. The Rockies have 2 doubles. Taveras led off the first inning with a double. And Garrett Atkins led off the second with a double. But the Rockies could not cash either one of those guys in. Who are the last 3 players to reach the 3,000 hit mark? 22 hits shy right now for Craig Biggio. Matt Holliday drives the first pitch to left center field. This will be at least a double. In fact, Holliday thinking about 3. And Matt picking it up. He'll have a leadoff triple. Hunter Pence had trouble picking it up in deep center field, and Matt Holliday has himself a triple.
Well, Wandy Rodriguez was able to get Matt to fly out to second base his first time up, and Matt now hits his 4th triple on the year. Breaking pitch right over the middle part of the plate. The high late kick and the extension and the drive of the baseball into the gap. What allows him to get to third base, though, is once his ball hits the fence, it kicks to the right of Hunter Pence. Takes him 2 extra steps to pick up the baseball. Matt easily slides into third with a triple.
And Helton, a little arc in his swing, trying to lift the baseball, fouls it off 0-1. Todd caught looking his first time up with Matsui at second base. Todd just 3 for 21 on the homestand. And that's a strike, 0-2.
Early in the ball game, the Rockies have not been good with runners in scoring position. We mentioned it in the first inning and again in the second. So far, they're 0 for 6 for the ball game.
Pretty much, you get this one in play, you have yourself a run. Everybody's back in the infield. Not going to happen. Boy, you don't see that much. Todd Helton, an opportunity to drive in a run.
And the other thing,
failing to do so
on 3 straight pitches.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a guy that typically will find a way to foul a pitch off till he can get one to hit.
Rodriguez has struck out 5 in 3 1/3. Well, Atkins doubled his first time up. He's 5 for his last 10, showing signs of coming out of a season-long struggle.
Now with 1 out, Phil Garner brings the infield in.
That's pretty standard.
Well, you saw the difference in strategy. With no outs, go ahead and let them, if they can, hit a ground ball, get the 1 out, don't play for the big inning. Now with 1 out, pull the infield in.
This will get the run home. It's going to run all the way to the wall. Garrett Atkins, I think, is officially back, using the off gap for a double, and it's 1-0 Colorado. That is the kind of hit that was reminiscent of a year ago, where he just wore out right center field.
And it has the backspin on it to be able to get by Luke Scott. Luke got a pretty good jump on the baseball, but he was able to stay back enough and then just drive the ball to the extension. Think about his double back in the second inning. A pitch that was up, he pulled it into the left center field gap. Now Brad Osmus and Wandy Rodriguez think they can work him away. He stays on it and drives it to the gap in right center field.
Just a small flavor of what Clint Hurdle believed and still believes this lineup's capable of. I mean, you have Holliday, you have all the speed up top, then you have Holliday, you have Helton. Helton, rear time doesn't come through. Atkins, and after Atkins you have Hop. That's a lot for a pitcher to deal with.
And that's where the lineup top to bottom comes into play.
Here's Brad, and he takes a strike.
Todd's not going to be able to drive in the runs all the time. You need guys to follow him up. That's where guys like Garrett Atkins and this man Brad Hop certainly help things out.
Foul ball. Brad, since May 16th, the last 3 weeks, 4th in the National League in hitting. Dimitri Young hitting .519 during that time. Hunter Pence hitting .429. Albert Pujols at .397, then Brad Hop at .392. Up second in RBIs during that same period with 17. 0-2, and this is up the middle. Biggio does not make the play. It is on the backhand side. A play normally Biggio will make, so Hop is safe on the error. And to third base goes Garrett Atkins.
You just don't see that very often from Biggio, even though it was to his backhand. He was shading Brad toward the hole at first base, but his footwork got messed up right at the end. He took a little choppy step to try to figure out how he was going to get it. Was he going to step and plant, or was he going to work through it, throw off balance as he was going away towards going away from first base?
Troy Tulowitzki struck out his first time. Chance to do some damage here. 1 out. Runners at first and third. Rockies ahead 1-0. Outside ball 1.
Well, his first at bat, Troy struck out on a breaking pitch. That was primarily what they went to, was off-speed pitches. With the first pitch fastball, see if they go back to the off-speed breaking pitch, changeup.
Good swing there. Tulowitzki had a good pass at a pitch on the inner half.
And it was down too, right where he likes to hit the baseball. I mentioned it, down and in. They tried to work him in, left it right over the middle part of the plate. When you foul it straight back, you're right on it.
It's low, 2-1.
Well, I'm surprised at the way they're pitching to Troy right now. 3 straight fastballs. Good fastball hitter.
They want the
sinker away. Try to get him to roll over for a double play. Nice eye.
Good eye. I mean, that's a pitch, honestly, a month ago, Troy probably swings at.
Oh, he would have, because he was over anxious in this situation, wanting to drive in the runs, wanting to produce right away. Now he's learned the strike zone a little bit better, has a little bit more patience.
In the air down the right field line. It's going to drift out of play. 3-2. Let's check an email. Again, presented by Office Liquidators. Ron in Boise, Idaho, with Tulowitzki settling in at shortstop. What does the future hold for Clint Barmas? Well, Clint's hitting .296 right now in Colorado Springs. Home run, 11 RBIs in 40 ball games. Clint can pick it at shortstop. But times change. Right now he's blocked by the play of Tulowitzki. And one thing that you know very well, Jeff, as a player, when you go out and play, you're not only playing for your own organization and your own scouts and your general manager, but there's 29 other organizations also that may be looking for the position you play.
Well, what's happened now too with scouts, a lot of them have been pulled off the amateur stuff because of the draft is going to happen in 2 days. They start to go to pro scouting, where they start scouting organizations. And that's exactly what's happening. You're having a lot more scouts go to the AAA games now.
Swung on and missed, so Rodriguez wins that battle with Tulowitzki. And now it'll take a 2-out knock to drive in the runner at third base, Garrett Atkins.
Well, to finish that thought on Clint, I mean, he might be playing for somebody else. I mean, Obviously, the way Troy's playing right now, there's no reason to do anything different, and that's the way the game is. You get your opportunity, you do something with it. Troy's certainly providing everything and more right now for the Rockies.
Torrealba caught looking his first time up. And he comes out in an aggressive mode, and well, he should, with Hirsch on deck.
Much like it was back in the second inning, Norvin might have to expand the strike zone. That's why he came out swinging at that first pitch fastball.
One and one. Let's check another email. This concerning the Rockies catchers. Catherine in Fort Collins wants to know about the catching situation. I noticed that Torrealba has been starting more often. Do you know why this is? Well, he has caught 32 ball games, and Chris Iannetta has caught 25. Now, Chris initially was the more everyday catcher, but Chris is hitting below 200, and that's it in a nutshell as to why Torrealba seems to be catching more over the last few weeks. Chris has done a good job defensively, still trying to find his offensive game at this level. 1-1's there, 1-2.
And the other thing too is right now that Torrealba is throwing out 37% of the runners. And compare that to Chris's 19%. If you're not hitting the baseball, you have to make sure that you're doing other things, throwing out base runners, calling a good game, and Chris is calling a good game now. You still have to be able to throw those guys out.
Rodriguez has already thrown 75 pitches. He trails only 1-0 in this game. 2-2. Runners at first and third, 2 outs. And Torrealba slashes at this one.
It seems like every hitter, Wandy Rodriguez, has been 2-2, 3-2. And also, when you have 6 strikeouts, a lot of times you're going to throw a lot more pitches.
Torrealba got a low bridge, 3-2.
The 3-2, 2 outs now. Lance Berkman is backed up behind Brad Hopp at first base. Still, the base runner has to make sure that the pitcher goes home. Allows him to get a couple extra steps and a ball hit in the gap.
Ball 4, so that will load the bases. And Jeff Hirsch will come up. Jason Hirsch will come up.
Let's take a look at the pitches by inning from Wandy Rodriguez. Pretty high numbers in the first and second. 23 and 20. Settled down in the third. Back to 23 pitches here in the fourth, and still only 2 outs for a total of 78. And brought to you by Sonic.
Knees. Well, Hirsch has gotten the first big league hit out of the way. He needs to get the first big league RBI out of the way.
The outfielders are come in a little bit in center field and right field. Carlos Lee stays in his normal position and left. He doesn't move from that spot too often. Jason Hirsch wasn't too happy with this call. Right at the knees when it finished up in the glove. Looked a little bit low, and that's where he saw it. That's not where Ed Hickok's had it.
Rockies have picked off a run in the inning. Matt Holliday led off with a triple. And 1 out later, Garrett Atkins doubled to right center field. Rockies own the only 4 hits of the ball game. And Hirsch went around. And that's all for Colorado. They leave them loaded. They have a 1-0 lead. They will take to inning number 5 at Coors Field. 1-0 Colorado as we go to the top of the 5th inning. Let's take a look at our fun fact tonight from Excel Energy. Former Astros player and general manager Bob Watson scored the millionth run in Major League Baseball history back in 1975. Watson on base when Milt May went deep at the stick. And of course, Bob Watson now in the commissioner's office in New York and has been for a while. If you get in trouble, you have to deal with Bob Watson.
Yeah, you don't want to deal with that man.
No. Here's another fact from Excel Energy. Renewable energy could help reduce the amount of emissions in the air each year by 20,000 pounds of carbon dioxide. By the way, coming into today, Doug looked this up, actually counted. There's been 1,711,214 runs scored all time. It's a lot of toes and fingers on
I was going to say.
to count.
Got some help for that, didn't you, Doug?
Carlos Lee will lead it off for Houston in the 5th inning. Lee hit a weak ground ball on the first pitch he saw to second baseman Kaz Matsui. And the fastball up high.
Much like Albert Pujols had just left a few days back, you like to see this guy come to the plate with nobody on. He's an RBI machine. The 52 RBIs is first in all of baseball.
He's tied with Maglio Ordonez. He's been consistent offensively. Hunter Pence has been real good offensively. Mark Loretta has been pretty solid offensively. Other than those 3, not much to shout about for the Houston Astros. And that's why they're near the bottom in almost all offensive categories, and they play in a very good hitter's park.
Well, think back to the last 3 guys in the lineup tonight, not including the pitcher. You have a guy hitting 232, 218, 236 coming into the ball game.
3-1.
I mean, you're just not getting much production from that bottom part of the lineup. And then you throw in Lance Berkman on top of that, somebody that's used to driving in a lot of runs, being on base a lot. It's a bad recipe.
Popped up on the 3-1 pitch. Matsui and Helton, and Todd will defer to Kaz.
Well, we talked about Wandy Rodriguez and his high pitch counts last half inning. Take a look at Jason Hirsch. Only 13 pitches, 6 in the second. Well, that's outstanding. And then 10 in the third, not too bad. 7 in the fourth, a couple 7 and 6s, and now 5 so far in the 5th inning for a total of 41. Compare that to Wandy's 78-80. This is brought to you by Sonic.
Here's Mark Loretta. Only 1 ball has been hit hard in the ball game by Houston. Now it's Pence in the 4th inning, hitting a line drive right at Garrett Atkins.
Everything else has been weak ground balls, easy pop-ups.
1 ball, 1 strike on Loretta, who was with Houston briefly. Final portion of 2002, and he hit over 400 with the Astros. But then he was signed by the Padres, played 3 years with San Diego. Last year with the Red Sox, he had 285. 5 home runs, 59 driven in. 2-1.
Mentioned he's one of those valuable guys that just can go out there and play so many different positions and do so many things for a manager. And then the other thing is he provides you with a lot of offense.
Good breaking pitch at the knees. 2-2.
We start him off with the curveball, his first pitch in this at bat. Throws a couple fastballs and then throws the hard breaking pitch down, and you can see the knees buckle ever so slightly for Mark Loretta.
This ball's hit pretty well left field. Holiday will make the catch. Loretta drove it 390 feet. Matt Holliday tracked it down. There are 2 outs in the 5th.
Well, that was all set up by the pitch before where he's able to throw the breaking pitch. Even though he did miss his spot a little bit with that pitch to Loretta, wasn't able to square it up completely. We talk about first pitch strikes and how they're so important for every pitcher, but Jason Hirsch especially. Tonight he is 11 for 14 first pitch strikes.
Just missed. Luke Scott and his former teammate Willie Taveras are very close friends. I'll tell you a story in a moment. Good changeup. 1-1. In fact, Willie and Luke made a pact that they would each speak to each other, try to speak to each other in the other's language. So Willie would learn English and Luke would learn Spanish.
And that's why Luke is now fluent in Spanish. I mean, that's such a valuable tool to have, to be able to communicate. And a lot of times, typically, when you get to the big leagues, guys from Latin countries can't speak the English language, and it's great. But when you have somebody that's willing to do it the other way, that just shows you the special bond you have with your teammates sometimes.
Well, those two played together in the Cleveland organization before coming to Houston. Took something off again. And there's that tough changeup that we saw in April. That's a great story. Two guys who came up together, and this game does forge a lot of close relationships because of time spent together.
Well, especially in the minor leagues, 8, 10, 12 hours on a bus together. You got to do something to pass the time.
2-2, and Scott in the air toward Taveras. Can Willie get there? Nope, it's off the base of the wall. And Scott thought about going to third, and then he kind of stumbled going over second base. The first hit of the ball game, a 2-out double by Luke Scott. That breaks up the perfect game for Jason Hirsch in the 5th inning.
Well, he just got a fastball that he was able to get out in front of just a little bit. Not a bad pitch, working down and away. But the extension, the full follow through, gets the hips turned, drives it into the gap in right center field. And for a second, it looked like Willie had a chance to get this baseball. And then just hits at the bottom part of the wall. He was going for third until he hit the bag and realized that with 2 outs, you don't want to make the third out at third base.
Well, Adam Everett up there, and though Adam's numbers for the year not very good, 218. He's actually started to swing the bat much better. Hitting .342 over his last 12.
Well, the funny thing, too, is Adam hits right-handers better than he does left-handers.
Only guy in the Astros lineup who can make that claim.
Yeah, hitting 230 off right-handers, 182 off left-handers.
You were going to say that, weren't you?
I was going to say that.
Stole your thunder. 2-0 on Everett. Rockies ahead 1-0. And this in the air to Brad Hopp. Brad's got to come quickly. He will. And that is all for the Astros in the 5th. So the first base runner for Houston, a double by Luke Scott. And the Rockies will take a 1-0 lead to the bottom half of inning number 5. Up the Jets, a double. Unfortunately, Willie would not score in that first inning. Panasonic Plasma, speed of sports. Back with Jeff Houston, I'm Drew Goodman. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Rockies leading 1-0. Jason Hirsch has been outstanding. It'll be Taveras, Matsui, and Holiday. And I want to take a moment to wish one of my boys, Zachy, a very happy 7th birthday. Zachary, I love you more than anything in the world. Happy birthday, buddy. 0-1 on Taveras.
Does that get a party or anything this last week? Okay.
Tomorrow at Laser Quest.
I was going to say. Dougie says he's invited.
Well, Dougie will get zapped pretty quickly. Two balls and a strike. Those places are fun. They didn't have those places when you and I were turning 7.
They bring the kids over to the house. You'd sing happy birthday, have a cake, and that was it.
Right.
Now you get Laser Quest, Bat City.
You tear up the house. Now moms are really smart
Chuck E.
about
Cheese.
that. Yeah, I mean, they take it outside.
Yeah.
I love those places with the monkey business. They have those big inflatables. I like going on.
Oh, those are fun.
Yeah. And Willie gets under this one. Pop fly to right field. I'll tell you what, for a moment, I think Luke Scott lost that.
They both did, Hunter Pence and Luke Scott.
All right, 1 out. Biggio looking up, checking if the sky's falling or not. Who are the last 3 players to reach the 3,000 hit mark? Biggio's 22 hits away. Palmeiro, wouldn't he be one?
Yep.
Yeah, Rafael Palmeiro, your former teammate. Ricky Henderson. And another one of your former teammates, Cal Ripken Jr. Now, were you around when Cal got the 3,000th hit?
No.
Were you playing with him then?
No. That was after my time.
Kaz shortens up to bunt. One and one. Email concerning Kaz Matsui. Brian and Loveland, would it make sense to switch Matsui and Taveras in the order? Kaz seems to use the bat more effectively to get on base. I don't know about that. I mean, Willie Taveras is hitting .327 coming in, leading baseball in bunt hits. I think it's worked out pretty nicely the way it is.
Well, and the other thing too, then you have a switch hitter hitting in the number 2 hole,
right?
Which I think is a little bit more valuable, even if you have a runner on first base. You can hit from the left side, right side if they decide to switch to a left-handed pitcher. I just like having that switch hitter in the number 2 slot.
3 O's in there, 3 and 1.
It's certainly nice to have that speed at the top of the lineup, though.
There's a base hit for Matsui. That speed will move to first base.
Kaz hasn't had quite as many opportunities hitting from the right side as he has from the left. And his swing's very similar from both sides of the plate, though. Uses the top hand to drive that bat through the zone, gets that foot locked in right here and gets the drive off that back leg, head extension down that way. Good follow through.
Got jammed and popped it up. So Holiday, who scored the Rockies' only run in the 4th after tripling, is retired. 2 outs. That'll bring up Helt.
Don't forget that this Wednesday night, tomorrow, is the food drive hosted by the Colorado Rockies organization. They'll be at all gates at Coors Field, and they'll be collecting donations of cash, canned foods, and non-perishable food items. All collections will benefit the Denver Rescue Mission. That's tomorrow, Wednesday, June 6th.
Let's take a look at an email right now from Bill in Discovery Bay, California. We'll miss your colleague in the booth, Keith Blyer. He mentioned last week that he was going to Oregon. Could you elaborate? Yep, Keith is taking a job in Bend, Oregon. He's going to do television, and also one of his other passions, Keith's an outstanding soccer coach. Keith was a terrific player, played at Santa Clara, and he really enjoys coaching youth soccer, and he's going to run a program in that part of Oregon. They have him picked off. Now can Kaz outrun the throw? Nope. They get him at second. We will miss Keith quite a bit as well. Keith has a few more days, so you'll hear from him before it's time to depart. But thank you very much for that email. 1-0 as we move on to inning number 6.